Here we are again with the little Sorrel 2-year-old, and he's ready for his first saddle. I've gone through my regular program of showing him how to be caught, lead, lunge, tie, trimmed his feet, showed him how to be flagged and bagged, and here I'm sacking him out a little bit with my saddle blanket before I throw the saddle on for the first time. This guy overall is pretty gentle. He's not really bothered by too much. When he does want to move there, I just let him disengage and keep messing with what I'm doing. I'll just wait for him to stop before I stop, and then I'll pat on him. This guy's been pretty easy to get along with overall. The only problem that I've really had with him is he's kind of sticky, and if you pressure him when he's sticky, he might get kind of bully. When he was first learning how to lead, he thought maybe he could go over the top of me to make his life easier, and that was not the case. But other than that, he's retained stuff that I've showed him, and overall he's been real gentle with me. He hasn't offered to be kicky or anything like that. He's pretty decently okay with this blanket. He's not too worried about it. I try to be really obnoxious with the blanket so the saddle isn't a big deal, because it's way easier to throw this blanket around like a fool than my saddle. I try to make a point of petting on him whenever he does well. Go to pick my saddle up here. Now, I don't really like sneaking around a colt. I'm going to chuck this saddle on his back just like he's a broke horse. He took it very well. I don't think sneaking really prepares them, so I just treat them like they're a solid horse, and if they want to react to it, then that's fine. It's just something else that I need to work on. I let my cinches down, make sure that my saddle is where I want it to be, and then reach under him for that front cinch. When I do up my front cinch, I make it tight enough that if he did have a problem with it, the saddle wouldn't come off. That's very important. He takes a step away and feels that saddle for the first time and decides to have a little come apart. He's kind of just throwing himself around. He doesn't really know what he's doing, which is good. Tries to change directions over the top of me, and I just keep him redirected and send him out on the circle. Now I only have my front cinch done up at this point, but I'm going to correct his behavior before I move on. I'm just sending him out on the circle. He's still pretty bothered. He's not really handling very well. I disengage him a couple steps, and then I get up to him to set my saddle again because he had it slid forward over his withers pretty bad. He's not a very big horse yet. He's definitely old enough for this, but there's not a lot holding that saddle from sliding forward. I take this opportunity to do up my back cinch too while I'm here, and I make it tight enough that it touches him, but I'm not trying to cut him in half. He's still pretty worried. His head is raised, his ears are back. So I just go ahead and send him off here. He goes to blow up a little bit more. I just try to keep him out on the circle and keep him moving. I want bucking to be a lot of work for him. Change directions. He tries to bronc a little bit that way, but not nearly as bad. Get after his hip, send him out on the circle. I think this little guy wants to be good, but he kind of got sticky. Once again, I mentioned that was a problem that he's had. He's kind of one that's a little bit tougher to get to move out. And I think that's where the bucking is stemming from. He wants to be a little cinchy. I'm interested to see how he progresses. He's kind of lunging around like a goober there, putting pressure on me. And he's got his head at kind of a goofy angle. So I'm just going to keep playing with him until he's a little bit nicer. Change directions. Look for hinds and then fronts. I go ahead and take this opportunity to reset my saddle again. It had slid forward again more than I liked. And I am sure to cinch him up tight enough, once again, that if he blew up, my saddle wouldn't roll under him, because that's just a wreck. And this saddle does have 2 ropes on it, that's why there's so much rope there. Just a little extra desensitizing for these guys. It's not going to hurt them. Go ahead and cinch him up again. Fasten up his back cinch. And then I turn him loose so I can move him around in the round pen and work on loping out with the saddle for the first time. Ask him to move out here. Once again, he's kind of sticky. He goes to blow up again. Just hadn't had enough of it, I guess. Hopefully that's something that he'll be able to get over, and it won't just be a response whenever he feels pressured. Go to cut him off here, change directions. Now this guy's been round penned once during the first haltering process, and I haven't had the need to round pen him since. He understands how to face up, but he was really terrible about facing up on the left circle during this session, and I didn't notice that in our previous session, so it was kind of interesting to me. I'm really having to push on him to keep him moving here. He wants to hang out next to the other horses, which is totally normal. When I go to step in front of him, he kind of acts like he doesn't notice, wants to look to the outside of the pen, and then faces me up. Offers to change directions to the inside. I'm trying to catch his eye here, but he just doesn't care, so I chase him off. He really didn't want to notice me in the round pen during this session. Go to step in front of him right here. I did manage to turn him to the inside that time, but he's not facing me up. See how much pressure he's putting on me right there, trying to cut into the middle of the circle? That's a little bit better. Go to change directions. Decent change to the inside. He's still pressuring on me quite a bit. Another decent change. Kind of wanted to face me up that time and let me pat on him. So he's loose here. I don't have a halter on him. And I go ahead and reset my saddle, and he allows me to. I thought that was pretty cool. Cinch him back up again. I want that saddle to be where it's supposed to be so it's as comfortable as possible for him. I don't want it to be up on his withers. I don't want the saddle position to be the reason he's bucking. After fixing that, ask him to move out again. He was more interested in the manure right there than me, so I bopped him on the butt. Keep pushing him around. I just want him to free up and have a chance to move out with the saddle, let the stirrups hit him, let the stirrups hit the fence, make noise, go to catch his eye right here. He wants to turn to the outside. I kind of try to help him change to the inside, but he turns to the outside anyway. So I hurry to cut him off, take him back the direction we were going. Push him around some more. I want that turning to the outside to be tough for him, so I try to put more pressure on him. Give him a chance again. He almost went over the top of me right there. I'm not sure if he was considering turning to the inside and then decided not to at the last minute. But he's really bad about wanting to just turn to the outside and take off. Look for his eye again. He considered just running right by me again. He kind of got belligerent here and just was not paying attention to me at all. So when one is like that, I have to stay in it until they find a decent place before we can quit. I absolutely despise a horse that thinks that they can just run right through me or by me. And he was pretty happy to just do both things here. So he got put to work. Go to look for an inside turn here. I give him a chance. Put some pressure on him and he just puts his head over the fence. Now, if this was a horse that didn't understand, it would be different, but he knows what I'm looking for, and he's ignoring me and trying to evade. I go to set it up again. He just puts his head over the fence. He's just using that opportunity to catch some air without doing the right thing. I put him back on the circle he was originally on, but he goes to change directions again. I swapped to my lead rope here because I figured he would have a little bit more respect for that and quit trying to run me completely over or through me. And I continue to push him around the round pen on that left side, which is the worst side. He's still quite a bit of work to make move. He would stop pretty much anywhere in that round pen if I quit pushing him. And I have to be pretty close to him for him to respond to me. I try to start getting after him more when he's over by the other horses, because that's the biggest draw for him. Go to smack him on the butt there. I didn't ask for him to slow down and try to stop. So here I'm looking for 2 eyes. I'm just playing the game, trying to suggest that he faces me up. And he immediately puts his head over the fence and changes direction to the outside again. I try to be pretty aggressive about changing him back to the circle we were originally on, because it needs to be more uncomfortable than the right thing for him to notice a difference. See how his body is angled before he even stops? I smack him right there because I really don't like him putting his head over the fence. I change him back to put him on the left circle once again. I've given him quite a lot of chances here, and he just continues to be belligerent. And like I said, he knows what he's doing. This isn't a new concept. If he was ignorant to the concept, I wouldn't be as aggressive towards him. Just keep pushing him around. Go to look for his eye again here. He kind of just sets himself up to turn to the outside before I ever even have a chance. There, he gives me 2 eyes and decides to come in, and then draws over to his buddies and leaves. So I go to push him again. If he does not want to be with me, that's fine, but he has to go back to work. Really hunting 2 eyes here. Set it up for him again. He really thinks about staying this time. but he's got a heck of a draw towards his buddies and he decides to go with them instead. So we go back to work. It's a really simple concept. Go to step ahead of him again here. He gives me 2 eyes and comes right in. I'm looking for him to disengage his hip. He offers to just leave instead. But he didn't really draw towards his buddies as hard that time, so I didn't get nearly as aggressive towards him. There's 2 eyes. And my drone decided it had had enough at this point. I landed the drone and immediately jumped back in with the colt. It only took another couple minutes for him to decide to hook on to me. And then I unsaddled him and we were done. Once again, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.